Copyright disclaimer. Under Title 17 U.S.C. Section 107, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Non-profit, educational, or personal use tips a balance in favor of fair use. Okay, you guys. My cell phone is being weird about getting to this site. I mean, you just never know. I have a few VPNs. No, I'm exaggerating. I have a VPN. So, it's a little rainy here. You just never know. So even though I don't usually like to read things from defense attorneys that defend pedos, I was looking up some things, and I want to share this because it's important to know. And it's always good to know the mind of the enemy. And this is from Health and Law Group. And just go on there and mosey around and just deduct your own thoughts. So, this is from in the state of California. So take it all with a grain of salt. But I just want to know how the laws work in California. That goes for people that actually adhere to the laws. Because there's a lot of wild, wild west lawlessness going around. So I took a picture of my computer with my cell phone. Continuous sexual abuse of a child. What you need to know. And by the way, they're trying to use that false memory shit, as they always do. In fact, I've even seen oftentimes where they try to throw out video evidence, photograph evidence, because that's what they're going to do. Child molestation is a felony in California. Felony. Depending on the facts of your case, it can lead to extensive prison times. And lifetime registration as a sex offender. How does it work? The prosecuting attorney in a child molestation case has the option to choose which charges to bring against the defendant, which would otherwise be known as the pedo. If the defendant has been accused of illicit contact with a child, good to go look that up, over an extended period of time, like a father or a mother or a brother or a cousin, or maybe even a neighbor that's continually essaying a child, the prosecutor can bring charges for each incidence of illicit contact. So, just take a deep breath here. However, in many cases, listen to this, a child might not be able to remember the specific facts of each incident, which would make the prosecution's job harder. Just go look up false memory syndrome. I'm not going to go there. In these cases, the prosecutor can bring charges for continuous sexual abuse of a child, which is defined in California Penal Code 288.5 PC. If this gets too dicey, I'm just going to not say the words or just skip altogether. Continuous sexual abuse of a child occurs when a person, 1, lives with or has access to a person under 14 years old. Good to pay attention to the age, because that just seems to change everywhere we go. I've been noticing a trend to make children younger and younger. You guys get that, right? And 2, over the course of 3 months or longer, commits 3 or more acts of 1, substantial sexual contact, or 2, lewd acts. Under case law, access means that the defendant must, the pedo, 1, have had an otherwise normal existing relationship to the child prior to the alleged abuse, the grooming period. as a teacher, relative, coach, priest, etc. And 2, be in a position of authority or power over the child. That's a huge one right there. Like a baseball coach or a coach or teacher, or I'm thinking father or mother should come in there, but I'm not sure. Or in a position to otherwise command respect, like a gymnastics coach. Substantial sexual contact is defined as M word, the M word, you guys know. You know, like the M word that Scientology has written into their policies, that word. Of the child or defendant, oral, blank, you guys can use your imagination, or PEN, you guys know what that means, right? There's various ways. I'm not going to go into it. Lewd acts on a child is willful touching of a child with the intent to blank blank, which personally, when you go read this, doesn't make any sense, because children does not have that. Children do not have that until it's introduced to them. In order to qualify as lewd acts, the touching does not need to be done in a blank blank sexual manner. And I'm not going to read the whole thing. Can't help but think of Jesus juice. How is continuous sexual abuse of a child prosecuted? Well, that's the kicker here. I'm trying to find the ones that have done this, that have actually been truthfully prosecuted. That's what I'm looking for. And this is where I came upon this. As we mentioned earlier in this article, remind you what side they're on, right? So just take it with a grain of salt. If a child has trouble remembering dates, you see that? That's their first defense, by the way. Ever seen it on the media or court details, etc., around specific incidents? Because they're traumatized or they're 4. It can make things difficult. It can make things difficult. That's what they want to do. For the prosecutor to pursue specific charges related to each incident. So this kind of, I'm not a law expert by any means, but this upsets me because what they're doing here is difficult enough for these children to be witnesses and or using their witness accounts, but they're trying to, what's the word I'm looking for? Tear apart and devalue the child's memory of the incidents. It's one of their only defenses. This law, PC 288.5, was written as a way for the state to punish cases where there is a pattern of illicit behavior, like eyeing children, right? But that some specifics may be unclear. In order to prove continuous, that's what they're trying there. You guys get it. In order to prove, they're trying to put holes in the accounts. In order to prove continuous sexual abuse of a child, the prosecution does not need to prove the specific dates of each illicit incident. Instead, it simply must prove that the first and last dates of abuse, well, there usually is not a last date unless the child gets too old for certain predators, of abuse spanned at least 3 months. The prosecution must prove, beyond a reasonable doubt, remember that because cops always use that terminology, that at least the acts of molestation and battery are different, by the way. The jury does not have to agree on which 3 incidents took place, simply that at least 3 took place over the 3+ month period. I got an issue with that. That's where they try to put the holes in the story. Let's look at 4 different examples. Example 1, Mike, 32, is a teacher, and Lisa, 12, is in his class. This is why you just gotta be so careful. Over the course of a 6-month school term, Mike engages in 6 acts of illicit touching. It's good to go look up, guys. With Lisa, 1 per month. Based on the testimony offered at trial, see, they're putting holes in the testimony. 7 of the jurors agreed that the first 3 acts took place. The other 5 jurors think that the final 3 acts happened. Because all 12 jurors agree that 3 acts took place, even though they disagree on which ones, they can render a guilty verdict. So you guys know where they're going to try to put holes, right? Example number 2. Tom, 18, is neighbors with Aaron, 13. Over a period of 4 months, Tom sneaks into Aaron's house. I love how they word this. It just makes me want to frickin' go nuts. I'm being sarcastic. And engages in oral blank with her. That is a form of the R word, just so everybody's fucking clear. If Tom otherwise had no relationship with Aaron, that he wasn't in a position of trust or authority, see how they're trying to poke holes? It might not be possible to convict Tom under this law. You guys know, you know what needs to happen, right? I can't say anything. Example 3, Mindy, 40, is a daycare worker for Dylan, 6. Over a period of 5 months, 6 years old, guys. Over a period of 5 months, Mindy plays doctor. See this shit? Plays doctor? With Dylan 7 times, rubbing blank over his clothes, even though this situation was presented to Dylan as an innocent game, and that the touching was done over his clothes. This could qualify as continuous sexual abuse of a child. Example 4. Christine, 45, is the stepmother of Mike, 11. The prosecution claims that over a period of 4 months, Christine has coerced Mike into blanking her on 6 occasions. Based on the testimony, see, they're always using the testimony, so that's what they're going to go for. In court, the prosecution is able to prove the first 5 incidents, which all happened in a 2-month span. However, it cannot prove the 6th. How do you prove this stuff? You guys get what I'm saying? Which happened in month 4, because the prosecution, that's their enemy, by the way. The prosecution is their enemy. Can only prove a 2-month pattern of behavior. They could render a not guilty verdict. However, Christine could be charged with other crimes. LAPD doesn't seem to really get a grasp on these laws. Penalty for continuous sexual abuse of a child. Under California 288.5 PC, continuous sexual abuse of a child is a felony. Listen to this. If you are convicted, the judge has the option to sentence you to 6, 12, or 16 years of prison time. Upon your release, if you get released, you will be required to register as a Tier 3 lifetime sex offender. Related charges, lewd acts with a minor. If there was a pattern of illicit contact, or if the prosecution feels it has enough evidence, see, what they're doing is they're going for the evidence and the testimony. Of course they are, right? To charge you, the pedo, for each incidence of illicit contact with a minor over a period of time, you'll most likely be charged with lewd acts with a minor. Oral blank with a minor. Go check some of the penal codes for SOD with a child and oral blank with a child. You guys might lose your shit. Oral blank with a minor. It is illegal to have blank with anyone under 18 in California, unless they marry them. In cases where a person is found to have had oral blank with someone 17 or younger, they could be charged with oral blank with a minor. And there's a lot of blurriness to that. I'm not going to even go into all the if somebody's boyfriend, girlfriend, that's kind of different. How do I, the pedo, fight continuous sexual abuse of a child charges? Go take your Ambien or light a J or whatever you got to do. So with all crimes against children, continuous sexual abuse of a child can be exploited by someone willing to make a false accusation. You see what they do, guys? How many times have we heard that before? There is a long list of reasons why someone might make a false accusation. You guys know you're dealing with slime, right? You know you're dealing with slime. In some cases, a child might be confused. Really? How many times have we heard that one before? Like, it wasn't too long ago, Paris Hilton had to redact her statements. You guys know what's up. When reporting it to an adult, like the adults that S them or are them, other adults can coach children. They can also coach the child to lie about the abuse, like Jan Eastgate did, into fabricating false stories in order to harm other adults. Go look how many times they've used that. Working with a skilled criminal defense attorney, slime bag, it is often possible to reveal false allegations based on a thorough and aggressive review of the evidence of the case. By the way, what I'm seeing here, the only evidence that they're presenting is the child's testimony, which they're trying to annihilate. And then their other second defense is that it's false memory. That false memory is just, I imagine once in a blue moon it might be true, but usually it's just what they use. She's lying. As we mentioned earlier in the article, child molestation charges in California are extremely serious. It's possible to lose years of your freedom in prison. Oh, you might lose more there. I'm just letting you know. And you could face a lifetime of trouble on the sex offender list. If you or someone you love has been accused of child molestation, see how they make it sound all flowery? It's actually, in many cases, it's considered R. Or if they use the PEN word, that is most definitely a type of violation. It's violence. It is important to begin building your defense. Anyways, I'm not going to read the rest. I just wanted to share that with you guys so we know what's actually considered. Unfortunately, I had to read from a slime bag perspective, but it's just good to know what these evil ones use, So I will put the link in the description box. Like and subscribe if you can, or if you choose to. Otherwise, have an amazing day or night wherever you are. Peace.